What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Talking hoops, 8 games today. A lot of injury news as always, but we're not going to talk hoops yet. We got Hoop on the show. We got AP as usual. AP, who they think
Who
they
they? I have no idea.
Who they think they beat them Chiefs? Come on, AP. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, crazy game last night. Obviously, the first game kind of sucked. I think you guys would all agree, but I mean, it wasn't like a shootout. I don't think anyone thought it was going to be a shootout. It was a grinded out type game, but how are you not on the – it could have went anyway. If that game goes to overtime, Bengals win. Honestly, I think it goes to overtime, Bengals win. You got Kemp out there. You got, dudes off the street, 4th-string receivers, and Mahomes is getting it done. And now this guy is a dog, 2-point dog to the Philly. Who's Philly played? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, the generational opportunity again. Again, everyone is on Philly already. Generational opportunity for the Chiefs. Dogs, get on the 2 points right now. Trust me, get on the 2 points. 2 weeks, they get healthy. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, Eagles, Chiefs, who are you on? Generational, are you fading AP?
Well, I mean, this past weekend, I was on the Niners and the Bengals, so it didn't work out so well, but I will be joining forces again with AP, and I'll be on the Chiefs. I got all these Eagles guys just pounding me week after week. I've talked shit about the Eagles every single week, and then what do you fucking know? Purdy gets hurt, and they get to face Josh Johnson in the championship game. I mean, just unreal run out by the Eagles. I mean, just absolutely insane. I'm just not saying anything about the Eagles whatsoever. I'm on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to leave it at that. These guys just continue to pound me every single week. Yeah, you beat Josh Johnson. Congratulations. Again, I guess you just have to beat the teams in front of you. The Eagles have done it, and that's all I have to say at this point on the Eagles.
Tyler, who were you on last night? Who were you on?
I was on Eagles. I had a lot on the Eagles, and then I put a little on the Bengals. But I put Bengals because I bet them both on Monday.
So you've always been a Mahomes guy, though, Title.
Huh?
You've always been a Mahomes guy, a Mahomes backer.
I thought the ankle was definitely, like I said, I bet it way earlier in the week. On Monday, I bet Eagles and Bengals. I got Bengals -1, which shows how bad I missed the boat. It closed at 2.5 or something. So I thought the ankle was way worse than it was. And it's Philly. Yeah, I mean, I'm on Philly. I'm on Philly over the Chiefs. I like Philly. I'm going to keep riding them. I'm going to keep doing it. But I'm not betting like that, though. I mean, I'm not betting against Mahomes' ankle. Looks pretty fine. I'm just going to watch it probably and enjoy it. But
I mean, what I got made fun of was, I said KC defense is going to show up. I said they were better than what they had been showing. Frank Clark stepping up. He had another phenomenal game. And that front was just a beast, man. 5 sacks on Burrow, 2 interceptions. Everyone's crying refs and stuff like that. But go rewatch it could have gone anyway. That's the one thing I'll admit. Close game. Now you got it's becoming a really good rivalry. Look at every game that they've played, and it's a 3-point difference every single game. If anything, you make the case that the Chiefs have dominated every quarter, but the Bengals, credit to Joe Burrow, that whole team, always right there at the end, knocking on the door. Really, really impressive. And they'll be back. They'll definitely be back.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no, those two teams could have played each other 30 times, and maybe it's 17 to 13 or something like that. I think those two play each other really close every single time.
How about Kelsey at the end? That was just so good.
Kelsey. Yeah, I mean, and it's going to be cool seeing Kelsey together in the Super Bowl. But yeah, Travis Kelce's the man. I'll let these two talk about it. People in chat saying refs during the Chiefs game, and then Reezer says, this comment, did Purdy getting hurt cause the 49ers to lose? Hoop, I'll start with you, and I'll go to AP. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I wouldn't say it caused them to lose, but it gave them a way worse
obviously
chance.
Changed the whole game.
It changed the dynamic of the game. Josh Johnson is not winning an NFC championship game. I mean, it's very simple. Purdy had played phenomenal. I mean, Purdy had played great. But when you lose him and you have to have Josh Johnson in there at quarterback, you're not beating the Eagles. And this guy, I'm not a fan of either team, but to say the Eagles haven't beaten anyone is a joke. Who have they beaten? I mean, honestly, they haven't beaten a damn team. But again, you play who's in front of you, and they've done a good job of beating the teams that they should beat. So congratulations to them. The fact hasn't changed. They haven't beaten a good team yet this year.
No, I agree. I mean, like I keep back. I think the Eagles are for real. I think everything with they dominate the trenches. The defense is stepping up. I like everything about them, but that definitely does not take away from the fact they have not really played. They had the easiest road, all of that stuff. But hey, I still think they win the Super Bowl. They beat whoever they need to beat. They get it done how they got to do. Yeah, Reeser saying I was asking not making excuses. Yeah, no, I think it's just a good talking point because everyone's talking about it. Obviously that 49ers Eagles game would not have been the same if Purdy was healthy the whole game and they could throw it. I mean, they didn't have a quarterback for 3/4 of that game. So yeah, I mean, I collected my cheese. I was happy I won. No one thought that's how the game. If you run it back with a healthy Purdy, the game doesn't go that way. I still think the Eagles win. No one knows at the end of the day, though. AP.
I mean, aren't you a little concerned about Jalen Hurts' shoulder? Like, no one's talking about that. He's a guy that's usually good at deep throws, like really good, pretty accurate. He missed a few.
He missed AJ Brown wide that one. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not. Jalen Hurts, the Eagle. I think they dominate the trenches. I think they can move the line of scrimmage. I like Hurts' legs. But hey, they're -2 favorites. Like, man, I was surprised to even see that. Like, Chiefs is +2. I feel like that'll probably close probably at 1.5. I doubt it gets 2.5. It closed at 2. But
I mean, if MVS steps up and plays like he did again, I mean, it's going to be fun.
I mean, he catches the crate. Trust me, you'll have a 55-yard bomb right in the breadbasket, AP, to open the game.
He'll drop it. Yeah. I would not be surprised.
Back to the old NBA.
No, I mean, Title, to answer your question, yeah, that game, I mean, like when Brock Purdy went down, yeah, that changed the whole game. Yeah, they stood no chance. They're down, what, like 28 points, and they're running the ball in the fourth quarter? They couldn't do anything.
Game over at that point.
Yeah, MVS was a true hero. Definitely, MVS made a lot of people out of money. Hoop, though, because my voice, Saturday was a little long day. I'm still recovering the voice over here. It looks like your voice. Did you have a fun weekend recovering a voice?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I woke up, I was like yesterday or this morning, and my son had 2 basketball games yesterday morning, and I coached the team. And I was putting in work on the sideline. So I don't know if it's that or what. I did have a lot of drinks this weekend, so probably the combination of drinks and yelling during the basketball game. I'm not at full strength. The voice is in rough shape here.
How'd the team do? You guys get some wins?
They went 1-1, so they're 3-1 on the season. So we have all third graders, but we play in a 4th grade league, so we're playing against some tougher competition. But they're 3-1 and they're doing well. So going for that Coach of the Year award, you know.
Yeah, hey, you'll get the Coach of the Year. You don't get what? You don't get trophies anymore. You get rings now, you say. So hopefully Landon gets another ring to his collection.
Yeah, that's the big thing now for like the basketball and baseball tournaments. They do rings instead of trophies, so the kids, they get excited for the rings. And it's sweet. I mean, they are sweet. I mean, they're big, obviously replica type rings, but they got like the fake diamonds on there and stuff, so it gets them all excited.
Yeah, they definitely changed because you were showing me the picture. Because back when I was a kid, probably when you guys were kids too, was either little plaques, like Dollar Tree things you could get, or get the thing like a little gold thing around your neck, a little necklace that's worth $1. The rings are probably the coolest there is. That's sweet, football though. We're talking there. It's AP. Everyone, of course, tuning in to listen to basketball. 8 games today. Of course, we're talking some hoops at first, but what's up, Chunky Blue? What's going on? What are your initial thoughts? Yeah. What are your initial thoughts on this slate, though, AP? I mean, so much injury news. Like, it's going to be so many if-then scenarios when we go through it. What are your initial thoughts, though, before we go game by game?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like this late game. It's on an island, too, 10 Eastern. You got Trae Young, questionable, Nurkic, questionable, probably true questionable with him and Josh Hart. So that's a game that could be really tasty to attack. And it's on an island, though. Like, if those guys don't get ruled out, you're kind of stuck with whatever decisions that you're left with. Luka, again, 8:30. He's got to be, like, really close to questionable. And if Luka's out, Dinwiddie's 8,500, but he's in a really good matchup. And I don't see how he just doesn't absolutely crush that price tag. But if Luka plays, you can't play Dinwiddie at 8.5. So, again, more news to keep an eye on. And then we got the Lakers situation with Anthony Davis and LeBron James both out. And it's a nice matchup against the Nets. So that's going to be a spot that's going to be really attractive to target. Kyrie's been balling out. A really good slate. A lot of really nice plays, some good flow chart plays too. And excited to break it down with you guys.
Yep, great breakdown there. So just the initial look on like what time. So we got 8 games, the times of the games. One game at 7 p.m. Eastern, then one game at 7:30, and then we got 3 at 8 p.m. Eastern, one at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, which is the Luka news, and then one at 9 and one at 10. So they're kind of spread out. Only one game at 7, one at 7:30, then multiple at 8 p.m. Eastern. But so you're
so hey, Tito, real quick, I gotta say one last thing, then we'll get in there. But so Snyder was over last night watching the game with me. I deleted probably 20 beers. I got after it. Snyder drinking like a jug of water, like literally like one of those gallons of water all night. So he's not messing around at all. He's coming for Mangone. It'll be interesting.
He did that. We were on the show when CDome was on here. When we were here, he was like, "Yeah, the 30-day challenge. Snyder's doing it." And CDome was like, "If Snyder does it, good for you, because it's really hard. No booze in there.
It's not going to help him in playing basketball, though. I'll tell you that."
I hope Snyder. You better be on the slab, not just pumping iron and doing stuff. You better actually be getting some shots up, Snyder. Come on now. 20 beers, Chunky Blue say. Yeah, AP. Why does voice,
not 20 beers.
Why does your voice not sound like mine or Hoops though, man? You sound perfect after that huge win yesterday.
I obviously have a drinking problem. I can delete those beers, and I feel exactly perfect today. It is what it is.
Hey, there we go. Let's go to basketball on that tangent. Drinking problem AP is going to give us some winners today. 8 games on this slate. A lot of injury news, like I said. But let's go game by game. The first game of the night has injury news in it. Orlando Magic, Philadelphia 76ers, 229.5 total. Philly is favored by 9.5. Joel Embiid is questionable for Philly. Obviously, we'll get that news before lock. If he's out, Harden, Tobias, Maxey, all of those guys get big bumps. Hoop, I'll start with you in this game. Embiid, if he's in, can you play him? Would be low own. If he's out, you get into Harden, you get into Maxey and them. Talk about Orlando, too, because they're healthy outside of Chuma Okeke.
Yeah, it's a pretty challenging slate with all the news that we're still waiting on, and it's just going to be very hard at this first game, 7 o'clock Eastern, the standalone 7 o'clock Eastern game, to really lock in pieces if we don't have some of this news in these later games. Even if Embiid's in, it's going to be hard to play him because you're going to need as much flexibility as possible when building teams tonight. I mean, we have the Luka situation, we got Trae Young late. We have, those two for sure are slate changing pieces of information that we kind of need. There's a chance that we definitely don't have it as what the Mavericks are 8:30 Eastern, so hour and a half. So, that's probably 50-50 whether or not we have that news. And then you're definitely not going to have the Trae Young news. And if Trae Young sits, you're going to have to load up on the Hawks for sure. So it's going to be hard to go here. For me, it's easy, though, because Orlando Magic, I just don't really play these guys at all. The one guy I always can make the case for, or I think you can make the case for, is Wendell Carter Jr. at 6'1". And I'm just not doing it on this slate. He hasn't been great. There hasn't been many performances where you absolutely need him as of late. So I'm fine just not playing the Orlando Magic. And then on the 76ers side, if Embiid does sit, James Harden, Tobias Harris immediately become plays on the slate. If he's in, I'm kind of hoping that he's just in, and then I can fade this game and not worry about it. Wait and see what news we get. This is, like I said, the only game at 7 p.m. Eastern. So without any of the important slate news, I am totally fine just passing on this game as a whole.
Yeah, I'm mainly in agreement. AP, I'm going to go to you. So Joel Embiid, let's say he's in. He's the one that stands out to me the most in this spot. The questionable tag, he played, 38 minutes or played upper 30s minutes against Denver and Jokic on Saturday, put up 87 DK points. 47% usage. Like anytime he plays Jokic, you want to make a statement. I assume my thought was that questionable tag is he played so hard 2 days ago. How does he feel today? I don't think it's really a foot injury. If he plays, I'm expecting 35, 38 minutes. Ownership kind of, I'm seeing like 10, 12%. But, man, what are your thoughts on him as a spend up? And then if he's out, what are you doing in this game? Talk about Orlando side.
Yeah, the Orlando side is a little easier. Just such a big rotation. You can't really play Fultz. Cole Anthony has been playing fine, but 5K for him and the guard spot's going to be pretty loaded. That's a tough play to click on, in my opinion. If we didn't have value, and we're going to have value on this slate, so this play is way too thin. But Jalen Suggs, so against Chicago, it was kind of a blowout. I think they were like maybe within like 18 or 20, but he helped to like bring them back to make it a little bit closer. And their coach just let him play. They let him run with it. He got the entire like fourth quarter run. So a 3-3, maybe it's like a $15 like large field tournament play only, just because we're gonna have so much value. But 3-3 for Suggs, if he gets that right script where he's getting like 25 minutes, I think it could be kind of interesting. But again, a little thin because we have a lot of value and then a lot of good guard spend up plays too on the slate. So I don't know if I'll get there, but I do think it's kind of interesting. Then on the Philly side, if Embiid sits and they don't need him to win this game, like Philly should be able to easily take care of this Magic team. Tobias Harris has absolutely crushed this team. He did so, though, you got to remember, like the first two times they played this year, it was no James Harden, no Joel Embiid. So obviously Tobias is going to soak up all the usage there. And he put up two really nice games, but it's a flowchart spot as well. Wings have been absolutely crushing the Magic. They don't guard anything. They don't guard three-point shots. That's where they've really struggled on defense. So Tobias Harris, if Joel Embiid is out, I think is a really interesting play. Then obviously James Harden as well. If everyone is in, honestly, I think you just fade this game. It's a big enough slate, and there's a lot of really good plays. I'm fine with just like fading this game, hoping that Philly gets it done easy, and Embiid and Harden don't absolutely like crush us.
Yeah, no, I agree. If Embiid's in, it's really would just be Embiid or nothing for me. If he's out, the Tobias, the Maxis, the Hardens get a big bump there. This is not about the slate, but it's an interesting question from Jackson before we get to the next game. Start with Hoop, then go to AP. One-on-one, who wins, Embiid or Joker? One-on-one, 3 dribble max. Same thing as how Big T and I do it. Who wins? I feel pretty confident about my answer.
Oh, man. Go to AP first. That's a tough one.
I would say Embiid, just because like Jokic, I mean, he thrives when he has people around him that he can get his teammates involved. Embiid is going to be a guy that just will dominate him in the paint. Hard to do, I know, with Jokic, but Embiid is just an absolute beast. So
I thought about it. It's definitely Embiid. Embiid would smoke him.
I agree.
And the snub too, like he's
one-on-one's Embiid's game. Jokic is a.
Isn't that not the ultimate like all-star starter snub to put your boy Giannis at center over Embiid? I thought that was like the absolute like nastiest snub that you could possibly.
See, I don't agree with that. I mean, Giannis just puts up 50 yesterday and 30.
Well, no, I'm not saying he should be in there over Giannis or anything like that at all. But I'm saying you move Giannis to center to take his spot on the team. I thought it was just the ultimate kind of.
It was so many, like his Tatum, like the East is that, man, the front court in the East was loaded. Like there was going to be one guy left out that was definitely going to be tough. But yeah, if Embiid started over, who at the end of the day, it's the All-Star game. Who cares much? But yeah, I got Embiid against Joker one-on-one too. Let's keep
those
it rolling.
Guys care. I mean, look what Embiid did that next game. Put up 80-some piece.
Some of those guys, yeah. Joker doesn't care. Luka doesn't care. You can tell the guys that do care for sure, though. Embiid is definitely one, rightfully so. I mean, he deserves it. Let's keep it rolling, though. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles Lakers, Brooklyn Nets. 2:30 total. Brooklyn is favored by 9. Why are they favored by 9? AD out, LeBron out, Austin Reeves out. As far as the Brooklyn side, KD still out, Ben Simmons questionable, TJ Warren doubtful. AP, I'll start with you in this one. You talked about the Lakers earlier. Ownership's definitely going to go there. Russell Westbrook, 7.5K, very popular. Rui, I think he probably starts, 4.1K. Power forward and center eligible. Very weird. He has the center eligibility. Thomas Bryant, 5K. Dennis Schroeder, 5.4. I think you can go to the Nets side too, though. Kyrie been playing great basketball. Claxton. This feels like a game you can load up on a little bit, AP. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. I kind of like the Lakers side just a little bit. 9 points seems like a lot. We've seen these guys step up when LeBron, AD, obviously AD was out for that long stretch. But then when LeBron's out too, you're going to get a lot of minutes from Schroeder. You're going to get Russ. I think he played like 32 and 36 the last time that LeBron was out. So you're going to get a lot more Russ here. And then Thomas Bryant and Rui down there in the front court. The Nets, not a good rebounding team, especially if Ben Simmons is out. So it's just Nick Claxton's been a beast. It's nothing against him. It's just they're not a strong rebounding team, which is going to be really good for a guy like Thomas Bryant. And then it's just crazy because the Lakers, not a good rebounding team either. So what this like, I think if Ben Simmons is out, I think we're going to see a really nice pace here. You're going to see kind of smallish ball. And it's going to be nice for fantasy purposes. But on the net side, I want Kyrie. And like Seth Curry, I think if Simmons is out, is also definitely in play. And then Nick Claxton, 8,100, it's getting up there. But if you just pull up the box scores, not only is he like playing really well, the guy's putting up some numbers too. And it's going to be a really good matchup. But on the other side, you got Thomas Bryant, no AD. Maybe they go Winyan Gabriel and split with Thomas Bryant. But I kind of think Bryant does get like 28 to 33 minutes. And at 5K, he could definitely get to work in this matchup. Rui, I think, also is in play. And then you got Russ and Schroeder. And so the thing that's kind of tough here is I do think Kyrie, Schroeder, and Russ are all in play, but they're all point guards on DraftKings. So it's really tough to stack them all up. So I think you have to make a decision, Schroeder or Russ with Kyrie, or do you fade Kyrie? Do you go Schroeder? So it's an interesting kind of debate there. My preference is I like Kyrie. The price tag is up there, but the guy's been absolutely balling. And, we should expect 25 plus shots like he's been taking every game pretty much with KD out and Simmons out. Even if Simmons is in, he's afraid to, shoot the basketball. So that doesn't really impact anything. And then on the other side, I kind of like the discount with Schroeder. So that's where I'm leaning in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Claxton's price. Like, just say you were on vacation for the last 2 weeks and you came back and you're playing for the first day. Man, you're going to see Claxton. You're probably like, he was 6.1K when I left. Now he's 8.1. Well, yeah, I mean, they definitely need the size. Claxton has always been one of my favorite players because, I mean, he's always active down there. He plays very well with Kyrie in the pick and roll ball, but they usually just had backup bigs where his minutes weren't stable. He could play 17 one game, 24 one game, then play 32 the next. He's played over 30, I think like 10 of his last 11 or something. They don't have bigs behind him. They need his size. They need his rebounding. Going to need him against Thomas Bryant. I think 8-1's a good price tag for Claxton too. It feels expensive. Ownership probably will be, he's going to maybe get a little bit, but not going to be crazy because of that price tag. But definitely sign me up for Nicholas Claxton. Hoop, I'll go to you. Someone wondering, Lonnie Walker going to play 25 plus minutes today. Does he get a big enough bump with these guys out? Schroeder, Rui, talk about the Lakers side. Nets for you.
Yeah, I mean, Lakers, obviously some very clear plays. Russell Westbrook will be, super popular, more popular on DK than on FanDuel because of the price tag. I really like Dennis Schroeder. I mean, he's excelled in these situations. You know what you're getting. He's going to play a ton of minutes in this game, probably upper 30s with the potential of even hitting 40. It's the best chance of scoring on the starting unit. So I'm definitely in on Schroeder. Rui at 4-1, I think is fine. I guess the one thing with him, though, is how many minutes really will he play here? He's the one that could have the minutes kind of cap. Thomas Bryant, I really like at 5K. Lonnie Walker, I don't know if I'm going to get there tonight just because of the spends on the slate. Like if I'm going to play guys like Lonnie Walker, I want to be able to go up and get a big time spend. As it stands now, like if Embiid's in, I'm just not playing Embiid. So that's one spend off the slate. And then Luka, even if he does play, do you really want to play him at home against the Pistons where they're not likely to push him? Probably not. So any fringe value play for me, I'm probably crossing off. And Lonnie Walker would be like a fringe value for me. So I won't be on him. On the net side, it's one of these situations that I like to attack where I know I'm going to have a lot of Lakers guys. So I want to have some nets in my player pool, especially if you're building a lot of lineups. And you have overpriced nets, or not necessarily overpriced nets, but price tags that people are going to try to avoid. Kyrie at 10-8. People don't like Kyrie at 10-8. They're not going to play him. Claxton at, 8-1, like you said. People aren't going to want to play him. So I think you get some guys that come in lower owned than they should be. So a lot of good plays in this game. Should be a good one. The Lakers side obviously is going to be, probably the most popular value. They will have the most ownership on the slate, I guess.
Yeah, coach in chat said 2 to 3 Lakers ? Right now it looks like optimals are looking like 2 to 3, and those 2 to 3 are Russell Westbrook, Thomas Bryant, and Rui. Look like the 3 that are getting the most ownership. Dennis Schroeder can be thrown in there as well, but I think that's where the ownership's going. On an 8-game slate too, yeah, I mean, if you play 4 Lakers, I don't think you're crazy. I would definitely make sure to play a net on the way back though. And last thing I want to touch on the Nets before we go to the next game, because Ben Simmons is questionable, like we're saying. I think that news means a little more than people are thinking, because if he's out, Claxton gets a huge bump. Just the rebounding rate, I don't think people are going to him regardless. I would definitely give him a big bump if Simmons is out, going to need his rebounding. Then a guy like Royce O'Neal, it's gross, 5.6K is expensive. But man, like Watanabe, Sharp, like they really just don't have too many bigs off their bench. We can see Royce play upper 30s minutes. Not sure I'll get there because of that price tag, but it's going to be very low owned, and he gets a huge bump if Simmons is out as well. Last guy, too, Seth Curry. You'd expect probably a big decide in the starting lineup for Ben Simmons. I think it would be Seth, and they'd go more guard heavy, and Royce O'Neal would go to the 4 with Claxton at the 5. So playing a little smaller, which is why Royce O'Neal, Claxton get bigger bumps for me, because they're going to need the rebounding and size. So monitor the Ben Simmons news. I think Seth Curry will start for him if he's out. If he's in, though, yeah, it's a little bump down than what it would be for guys like Claxton and Royce O'Neal. But let's keep it rolling. That is the 7:30 game. So we're about to talk about these games. 8 p.m. Eastern, an hour after lock. We still have 6 games left, only 2 games down. Still waiting on a lot of news at 8 and 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So have a plan going into it. We don't think you need to load up on that first game if Embiid's in. And then hopefully we get a lot of that news before that Lakers-Nets game, and you can always pivot if certain news breaks a certain way. Haven't really talked about it yet, though. Over 600 watching, 175 likes. We appreciate it if you hit that like button, you hit that big red subscribe button for us. That's all we ask for you on this, for the show on here every single day, breaking down all different kinds of sports. Like button, subscribe button. We appreciate it very much. Let's keep it rolling, though. 8 p.m. Eastern, Sacramento Kings, Minnesota Timberwolves, 237.5 total. The Kings are favored by 1. Injury news in this game. Excuse me. McLaughlin's still out. Towns still out, been that way for a while. Gobert is questionable, been that way for a while too. Naz Reid situation we obviously know about. Taurean Prince is also questionable. And going to the Kings side, the Kings are healthy, so don't have to worry about any injury news there. Hoop, I'll go back to you in this one. Talk about if Gobert is out, are you loading up on Naz? If Gobert is in, 6'6" is an interesting price tag. D-Russ, Anthony Edwards, Fox, Sabonis, Herter, Monk. I mean, there's guys up top. There's guys in the mid-range. I think it's an interesting game. High total, close spread. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, you look at it and you want exposure. 237.5 total. Kings favored by 1. 2 teams that can definitely put up points. And, you know, you want some exposure. On the Kings side, a little more difficult because they're kind of at full strength and, for the most part, fully priced. De'Aaron Fox, 8.3K. He's like a mid-8K guy to me, and that's where he's priced. Sabonis, 10.3. Kind of where Sabonis should be. I guess when you look at his recent production, you might think it should be a little bit lower because he hasn't been great lately. So that is one thing to consider. But I don't mind like this game if you want multiple pieces from both sides. If you're hand building teams, you can certainly do it. But I overall have way more interest in the Minnesota side. If Gobert does indeed sit. Man, I don't know. I mean, Naz Reid has always been like a slam dunk play when Gobert sits. It's just not the case anymore. The price is down at 4.3K. They're just, I don't know. He's like barely playing. So I don't know. I guess probably won't play him. But if Gobert is in, I don't like Gobert by any means. But at 6'6", he can get you 40 relatively easily. I mean, he can go, an average game for him, I think, is upper 30s. He's going to go out there, probably get you, 14 points somehow. He's going to get you probably 14 rebounds and some blocks and steals. Again, in terms of winning basketball games, like he's not the guy, but in fantasy, when he's mid sixes, I certainly have interest. Jaden McDaniels, I think is a strong option either way. We talked about him, I believe it was last Friday. I think JT actually picked him as the Eiffel Tower play of the day. 4.8K, he's playing a lot of minutes. He can be productive. I think he's a sneaky play in this game. And then Anthony Edwards, phenomenal play. And then, same thing with D'Angelo Russell. When he's priced in the upper 6s, low 7s, I have interest. When he gets priced in the mid 7s and then closer to like 8K, I kind of lay off. But he's been very steady lately. I mean, very steady, dating back to like 6 games. 41 fantasy points, 39, 49, 36, 44, 40, playing a lot of minutes, shooting a lot of shots. I like him a lot at 7K. So, Russell, Edwards, probably my 2 favorites. Jaden McDaniels, I think, is a really strong option as well, a guy that probably won't get much ownership. On the Kings, not a ton of interest unless you're doing teams where you kind of, anticipate this game being very close and high scoring, which Vegas does think is going to be the case, and getting a little of those sides. But it's really only Fox or Sabonis that you can do that with on the Kings side. But should be a good game.
Yeah, I mean, man, we talk about it all the time. It's not best NBA DFS. It's not like football DFS where you're stacking. You're playing a quarterback. You're picking some receivers to go with it. Obviously, you throw a touchdown, someone's getting it from your team. You don't need a stack in NBA. You can play one guy in every single different game or different team, and that's fine. However, if you do game stack, I think this would be one of the ones I do. The benefits of doing that, you can luckily bink OT, get the extra 5 minutes for multiple guys. It's an up and down game. It's a close spread. If it's close, you're going to get the full run from both teams. And AP, you look at it, Kings are healthy. Even if Gobert plays, Minnesota's pretty healthy. We know where the minutes are going for both teams. Their starters play over 30 minutes, almost every single one of these guys. So like a Keegan Murray, a Harrison Barnes, a Kevin Huerter, none of those feel great, but you're getting 30 minutes at pretty low ownership is what it's looking like. So is this a game stack for you? Who are some of your favorite plays?
Yeah, I mean, these teams obviously just played a couple days ago with Timberwolves winning, I think by like 7 or 8 points. Anthony Edwards just had a monster game. The guy is, I mean, I don't want to say quietly, but he's been phenomenal, especially from three-point range, just dating back to like Houston. So if we go back 5 games, he was 8 for 16 3-point shots is insane. But he hit 50% of them. He's basically been over 50% shooting from 3-point range over his last 5 games, which is insane for Anthony Edwards. The guy, he's not only doing it with raw scoring, he's racking up peripherals too. You're seeing rebounds, assists, and then steals and blocks as well. So I have him as like a core play that you can obviously build around. 9-4 plus the position flexibility that you get. You can play him at the shooting guard, small forward guard. In the matchup, he's also qualifies as a flow chart play. So he has a lot of stuff lining up for him tonight. And I always get a little worried like on these spots where teams just played each other and the guy smashed. It is hard to teams will adjust, and it's like the second game, like the Kings they got to make some adjustments. They just saw this team, they just lost and they're favored by 1 tonight, so they're probably going to make some adjustments. But will that impact Anthony Edwards? I mean, I'm not sure. I still feel pretty good about him. And then D'Angelo Russell, I mean, the guy put up I think he put up 35 DK points in the first half, and then literally ghosted us. I was on him that slate, ghosted us in the second half. He did absolutely nothing. The minutes are there, and when he's aggressive, he's been playing really good. But when he starts deferring, actually, it was probably because Anthony Edwards was just on another level. And whenever that happens, everyone else takes a back seat. So I think it's one of those spots where you go D'Lo or Anthony Edwards, but both are in play. I just wouldn't play them together. And then Kyle Anderson, I mean, this guy has shown a lot of upside, but the problem is he can't stay out of foul trouble. He is literally a walking foul. I have yet to see him stay out of foul trouble. It's absolutely insane. And then obviously with Gobert back in the lineup, not as good because Gobert going to be fighting everyone for rebounds. And we've seen Kyle Anderson's rebound rate go down substantially with Gobert in there. I mean, you could just look at the game logs. Go back to that stretch where they played the Jazz, Nuggets, and Raptors. Kyle Anderson, 11, 10 rebounds. Over his last 3 games, 3, 3, and 4. So obviously it's just, Gobert being back in the lineup impacts him. So Edwards, D'Lo here in tournaments. And then on the other side, you can go right back to Fox or Sabonis. Tougher matchup against Gobert, so I'd probably not go into Sabonis, but I wouldn't be surprised if he put up a number tonight at all. And you're going to get 39 minutes, or you're going to get probably 38 minutes from him, assuming he stays out of foul trouble.
So if Gobert is out, are you giving slow Kyle Anderson? Are you way more likely to play him? I think
he plays because he played on a back-to-back, and he played 35 minutes on that back-to-back, and it was a 3 and 4 situation, which most cases it is in today's NBA because they play so many games. So I think he plays tonight. I'm not playing him in DFS. It would literally, and I'm like Keegan Murray, I think is fine, but I don't want the peripheral pieces here. I want kind of the studs, and that would be Ant Edwards or Russell. And then I do think Fox is in play as well.
Yeah, no, good breakdown there. You have a strong lean, Gobert. I mean, Gobert, it feels like he's been questionable a lot of these, the past 3 games or something. He's played in all of them, so I could be wrong on that. But, yeah, the questionable tag, it's 8 p.m. Eastern. again, we should get this news. We hope we get this news before that Lakers game that starts 30 minutes before. Probably don't have it before the Philly game that starts an hour. But again, if Joel Embiid is ruled out, I don't think too many people have a lot of their lineups filled out from that first game. So we should get this Gobert news. Still waiting on a good amount of other news at 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. Eastern too. So that's the Kings. That's the Timberwolves. High total, close spread. I think there's a lot of interesting price tags in there. Like if I landed on a Keegan Murray last piece at 5K, man, at 4% ownership playing 35 minutes, I would play Keegan Murray. I'd be fine with that. I think a lot of these guys are fine as last pieces. Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, Harrison Barnes, all those guys fall in the same boat for me. Over 30 minutes, appropriate price tags. I'll take it at low ownership as the last piece, but don't think you need to jam any of them in. Let's keep it rolling, though. Let's move to the next game. Big total here, 242.5 between the Golden State Warriors, Oklahoma City Thunder. Golden State is favored by 5. On the Golden State side, no injury news there. On the OKC side, just Lou Dort is out. Aaron Wiggins is expected to start for him is what it looks like. Aaron Wiggins looks to be one of the most popular plays if he does, in fact, get the start. 3.4K, small forward eligible on DK. Maybe Giddey, though, Jalen Williams, SGA, Isaiah Joe. Any of those guys stick out to you, Hoop? And then talk about the Warriors side.
Yeah, not really my favorite game. I mean, it does have the big total that we like sitting at 242, but a lot of these games have big totals. And like you said, the Warriors pretty close to full strength. Actually, they might be at full strength. It doesn't look like anyone's out.
Andre Iguodala, who's literally out every single regular season game.
Which doesn't matter. This new starting lineup with Poole in there, I think, is smart, but it also takes away a lot of usage from some of these other guys. So just looking at this on the Warriors side, I think the only guy I have interest in is going to be Clay at 6.7K. Shooting the ball a ton the last 2 games, 30 or 24 shots and 23 shots. You know he's going to be out there chucking. He has mid-40 fantasy point upside. And I'm not a Clay guy either. I'm talking about a lot of guys I don't like today, which is somewhat interesting. But
you got to be a Clay guy after what he's done the past 2 times you played him as your play of the day.
He's smashed the play of the day for sure. So maybe that's what I should do. Make him the play of the day and then just play him and I'll be all set, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's the only guy, though, on the Warriors side that I'll play at 6.7. And then OKC side, like you said, Aaron Wiggins, if he starts, will be pretty popular, 3.4K. He's a guy that, typically when he gets minutes, he produces. He played 30 last game against Cleveland. If he starts here tonight, I'd imagine he'd get the same amount of playing time, which would make him a solid option. In tournaments, I don't hate fading him. I don't really know, the amount of upside that he has. And if some of this injury news provides more value, then I think it would take it away. But for cash games, yeah, a guy like him makes complete sense at 3-4, assuming he's in there. SGA, I think, is fine. We don't have a ton of spends on the slate, especially if like Embiid's out or Luka's out. You can go to him. He's priced a little bit lower than those guys. Giddey, I don't know. I don't really play him a ton when the price gets up there. 7.7. I mean, he's really got to do something at 7.7. I mean, we need him in the 40s, and I don't love that. So 2 favorite plays here are going to be Clay and Wiggins, and I really won't have a lot of the other pieces.
Makes sense. AP, throw it to you. Touch a little bit on Draymond, AP, because Hoop out at the point most people probably know, but the Warriors switched their starting lineup not too long ago. Poole, now Poole in, now Draymond at the 5. Kevon Looney's not starting. And then Draymond's had a lot of huge games since then. He needs to rebound a lot more. The assists are there. And you look at it, he's putting up 40-plus DK points with like 4 shots, 5 shots. He doesn't need to score to get the job done. What are your thoughts on this Warriors lineup with him at the 5? Does it bump guys like Draymond? Does it hurt guys like Steph and DFS? And touch on Giddey, SGA, and anybody on the other side.
Yeah. I think, hopefully, hopefully this take is a little bit lower owned, but I love this game. I think the pace is going to be insane. I think if the Warriors do continue this small ball lineup with Draymond at the 5, OKC right now with the injuries that they've been dealing with in the front court, obviously they're bad against opposing bigs. And that's going to be Draymond. He's going to be in there, so he's going to make for a really good play. And I think SGA might be the best overall play on the slate. This dude has been lights out. And I think maybe it has to do with the All-Star snub a little bit. We've seen him just tick up. I think he's slowly becoming like one of my favorite players to watch. Tato, he has to be one of your favorite players to watch. This dude This dude closes. This dude, like, he can do a little bit of everything. He knows how to get his team involved. He knows when to take over. He knows when to defer. And what we're seeing right now, we saw a little stretch where he was deferring to Josh Giddey, and then now it's all about SGA. I think he puts up a big number tonight, like he has been. Just pull up his box scores. And like, all right, so the game against Cleveland, I think, was one of the most impressive performances I've seen in quite some time. The Cavs have been the best team by far against opposing point guards. Just look at who they have in the paint. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, makes it very, very difficult. And then Isaac Okoro, another really good defender. Shea cooked them, man. He absolutely cooked them. I love him here. This Warriors team, even though they've gone small, it's just the pace gets better. They're not the defensive team that they once were. Yeah, Wiggins helps. He definitely helps. But I think that injury is still impacting him. And let me pull up the injury report. I think he is in tonight. But again, he played 26 minutes against the Nets. Like, he could be in a situation where his minutes are managed. So I think this game is going to be really tasty. I actually like the over here. I think we're going to see a ton of points. Klay Thompson is a phenomenal play on the other side. I'm with Hoop on him. Flowchart play as well. And then the easy fade is Jordan Poole. They've been bringing DiVincenzo off the bench, extending his minutes. He's been playing really good. So I'd be off Poole. The other thing, too, is Lou Dort being out has really impacted OKC from a defensive standpoint. They have not been as strong on the defensive end without Lou Dort in there. So I think Stephen Curry could absolutely cook. And this is what I was talking about, going back to that Lakers game. You got 3 point guards there that all 3 are in play. But as we go through these next games, there are so many good point guard plays. And I think Shea is probably the best one. I would not be surprised if this game, though, was SGA and Curry going back and forth, taking turns, hitting shots, and absolutely nuking the slate. So in tournaments, that's a pairing I would definitely consider on the slate.
Yeah, no, I like the SGA call for sure. Anytime he's below 10K, he catches my eye. And if you look at what he's done the past 3 games, usage all above 30. You look at when he went through a little of a cold stretch, and then cold, he's getting 45 DK, 42, all of that. Usage came down a little bit. It looked like Giddey was taking over a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, SGA, I always like SGA below 10K, up tempo game, pretty close spread. Definitely can sign me up for a little SGA at 9.9. I really don't think the ownership will be there too much. So sign me up for that. We got some news as well. Ben Simmons is out. We did touch on that in the last game. I think you bump up Claxton. I think Seth Curry gets a big bump, assuming he does slide in the starting lineup. The Royce O'Neal price tag's tough for me. I don't know. AP, do you have a lean or Hoop? Royce O'Neal now, 5'6" is a price tag I don't love clicking for, but man, they're going to need his size. It feels like this is a spot where he plays 37 minutes. Well, I did say that, though. I'm thinking more beginning of the year. Watanabe didn't have the role he has now and stuff. So am I being a little ambitious thinking Royce plays upper 30s?
He probably plays. Yeah, he probably plays a lot of minutes. I mean, it just comes down to what he does with them, and what's the ceiling. And again, he's 5.6K, so he's got to do something. For me, especially in tournaments, it's like, man, 5.6. You're probably thinking, you want at least mid 30s. Can he get mid 30s? I think so. He's going to have the minutes. It's going to be a good matchup. They're projected to score a lot. Low owned option. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's just the price tag. If he was 4.8K, it's like, let's go, But at 5.6, just got to do a little bit more for us.
It feels like he could be 2% owned. And if the minutes is right, Roy's 10% owned. I mean, man, maybe he just somehow now gets a huge projection bump, but I still don't even think so. I still think he'll probably be single-digit owned. AP, any thoughts on that? Does Watanabe now being in the rotation more sharp? Is he going to get 35 minutes? I'm setting it there, under or over.
I still got nightmares from that Spurs game where we all jammed these dudes in the absolute nut matchup spot to crush. And I think Royce O'Neal had 7 DK points, and Curry sucked. Joe Harris sucked.
Yeah, they got
that was I got nightmares about that game. I don't know, man. I think how I'm playing it is I could just see everything going through Kyrie and Claxton. I think Royce O'Neal is fine. Maybe a cash-ish type play. It depends on his projection. I don't think I would make any of those guys kind of a priority, though. For me, I'm creating some rules there. Like I learned from that game. It's like Seth Curry or Joe Harris. And I would actually add Royce O'Neal into that mix too, just because we know Kyrie is becoming a really strong play. But the one thing, 10-8, so you got to think about, like, what does Kyrie need to hit to absolutely kill you when we go through all these guards? Like, I think Kyrie needs probably to hit like
75 or 80.
Exactly, at that price tag. When you got SGA, you got so many good.
He's not going to be that high owned either. He needs a huge piece to do that. Yeah, I mean, I spent enough time about Royce O'Neal. That's on me. It just, man, the beginning of the year, because he had his stretches where he was smashing. He's playing upper 30s minutes. He's playing the 4 on a small team. I mean, Claxton is not a very big 5. He can easily get in foul trouble too, and they just don't really have backup bigs. So he can hit the ball. He can hit it from deep. He's going to need to be – they're going to need his rebounding. Minutes maybe a little more uncertain now with Watanabe and Sharp and some of these other guys in the rotation that really weren't before. But that's an interesting one. Definitely give me a bump to Claxton and Seth Curry, assuming he starts, though, now with Ben Simmons out. Let's keep it rolling, though. Like button, subscribe button's all we ask for. Over 700 watching, 252 likes. Let's get 375 likes today. I think that's a very easy number to get. 375. We appreciate all of you hanging out with us. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, Washington Wizards, San Antonio Spurs. Another big total at 241. Washington is favored by 6. Daniel Gafford is questionable in this one. Pretty big news. If he's out, Porzingis would have to play more of the 5. Taj Gibson. We ain't playing Taj Gibson, though. As far as the Spurs, Devin Vassell.
He balled out the other day, Title.
Sorry. Maybe
it's crazy. It was crazy. I know. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Taj Gibson. AP, I'll start with you right there. Talk about Taj Gibson. Talk about this Daniel Gafford news. What are you doing in this game?
Yeah, I mean, he put up like a 27-piece in like 17 or 18 minutes last game against the Pelicans. Kind of wild stat line there. Gosh, I mean, this is like the Spurs have been kind of like an ultimate flowchart spot where you can play guard. You can play anyone against them. It's the freaking Spurs, man. They suck. They don't play any defense right now. But the problem is you get the Wizards. They have one of the worst rotations out there outside of like Kuzma, who plays a ton of minutes. Like this backcourt rotation between DeLon Wright, Monty Morris, Bradley Beal, and now Kendrick Nunn makes it really difficult to play any of these guys, even though the spot's really good. If anything, like I could see like Kendrick Nunn maybe like getting there in, his second, like if the Wizards the Wizards, they don't blow out any team. So like you can't even factor that in. Even though it's like such a good spot on paper, I don't know if I can get to any of these guys. I mean, I tried playing Beal that one day and got made fun of, got my feelings hurt, which is fine. I deserved it for playing that dude.
The price tag was right, but I was going to bring up that tag.
The price tag is the same. He was 7-2.
I know.
So I don't know. I just don't think like if Kyle Kuzma and Porzingis is in there, it makes it easier just to kind of fade this spot. And that's kind of what I'm leaning. But if Daniel Gafford is out, that it makes things even more interesting because Gafford has been absolutely balling. I mean, against the Pelicans, he put up a 51-piece. He's been playing 30-ish minutes. One of these guys is going to smash. Maybe it's like Denny Avdia off the bench. I mean, who knows? I'm not sure if I want to use – like I'm definitely not playing Monty Morris. The guy he's not going to do much in there, and he's going to play right around 25 to 27 minutes. So kind of a tricky spot. And I think the Spurs are easy fades as well. Zach Collins, is fine, but the price tag's up. So Zach Collins was more of a play when he was like 3.7, 3.5. Now he's 4K. So I'm kind of leaning to fade or be under on this game.
No, I'm with you for sure. I got a name for you, Hoop. Talk about him. Jeremy Sokan. Why bring it up? Coming off a monster, 47 DK points, shot the ball like 23 times. I mean, we can't expect that repeat performance, but 5K, Jakob Poeltl, 5'8". I mean, I don't love this game much. Can you pick out anyone?
Jeez, I just pulled that up. He played 39 minutes and shot the rock 25 times. 47.5 fantasy points.
I'll pay 5K for that today.
Yeah. Jeez, the voice is struggling over here.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
Going through puberty. I mean, it's worth a flyer in GPPs for sure. I'm just so hesitant on the Spurs, man. I just don't like playing them. They're kind of in the same category as Orlando Magic for me. Just not playing these guys right now. But 39 minutes, 25 shots. I think you can definitely take a shot in GPPs. On the Wizards side, I'll be fading the Wizards. I mean, put Bradley Beal on the cash chart and pulled up his game log. It's like, man, even at 7-2, like I don't even know if you want to play him in cash games at 7-2. Like he's just, man, it's a tough one. It's almost at the point now with him, like you need some of these other pieces to kind of be out for him to be in play. So I will be fading this game for the most part.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all for you.
One that actually Pirtle. So here's the problem with the Spurs is like who knows what their rotation is going to be, but Pirtle did play 33 minutes last game. If we knew he was going to get 33 minutes, which is the big question mark, we have no idea what type of run he's going to get with Greg Popovich. But man, it's like you can play these bigs against the Wizards, man. That would be a really nice matchup, especially like if Gafford was out. He'd be in there against Porzingis and Taj Gibson. I mean, we're not worried about those guys at all. So something to keep an eye on. It's just so tough to play any Spurs player.
And it's only going to get harder as the year goes on with them tanking. Like, man, yeah, if you give me 33 minutes, Jakob Poeltl for sure. When I click that button, I'm afraid I'm going to get 24 minutes, and then my whole lineup's going to be dead because of it. So I think if you really if the Spurs are relatively healthy, and your model the whole time was I'm not playing any Spurs when they're relatively healthy, probably going to be fine going the rest of the year. I don't think Spurs are going to beat you too many days. So, yeah, that big total in that game, no doubt about it, but I don't really see too much interest in that one. I definitely liked a lot of the other games we already talked about prior to that. Still waiting on some news in this next game we're going to talk about. A couple of games left, though. So that was the Washington Wizards and the San Antonio Spurs. We're going to keep it rolling. Again, 375 likes is what we need. We appreciate when you do smash that like and that big red subscribe button for us. Hoops, Detroit Pistons at 8:30 take on the Dallas Mavericks, 229.5 total. Dallas is favored by 8.5. Luka is questionable. Again, this game's at 8:30. Slate locks at 7. Only one game at 7. One game at 7:30. So hopefully we get this news before the 8 p.m. Eastern game. Obviously, if Luka's in or out, it changes the whole slate. Maxi Kleba out. Christian Wood is still out as well. On the Detroit side, Bagley out. Corey Joseph out. Nothing really on the Detroit side that we didn't know about. Hoop, I'll throw it right to you. If-then scenarios with Luka. Talk about your Pistons. What are we doing in this one?
Yeah, the Pistons not very appealing on the slate. I think we have much better options, much better teams to attack. So really won't be going to the Pistons regardless. But on the Mav side, yeah, we need the Luka news in. This is 8:30 Eastern, hour and a half after lock. And I guess the one thing I will note is we have injury news after this too, like the Hawks and Trailblazers game has significant news that we'll be waiting on as well. So if you do wait for the Luka news and you're anticipating him being out and he's in, still have options behind this game that you can play. So I think tonight is definitely a backload type of night, especially if you're only doing one lineup or a few lineups and you can manage it. It's definitely a backload situation. If Luka's out, I mean, you look at what Dinwiddie's done. I mean, Dinwiddie's been phenomenal. 59 fantasy points, 57.5 in his last two games. Dorian Finney-Smith has been really good, playing a lot of minutes, 42 fantasy points, 34 fantasy points. And then Dwight Powell, I don't like as much, but he had a couple solid games in there with 33 minutes, 36 minutes, 37, 27 fantasy points. So this is a spot. And then Hardaway Jr. as well at 6K. Small forward's kind of weak on the slate, to be honest with you. We have the value in Aaron Wiggins. We have Ant Edwards. But outside of that, it's not a great position. So Hardaway's in that conversation at 6K. But I definitely think this is a backload and wait. But if Luka is in, I don't think I would play him tonight, off this injury at home against the Pistons. I just can't imagine they'd push him regardless. It's news that I think you want to wait for tonight.
Yeah. AP, if Luka's in, is it a slate you think you get to him? If he's out, who all gets a bump? Pistons look gross, but people in chat, a couple of people talking about it. Alec Burks always will be one of my favorite players in the NBA. My first hit, $5 into 1,500. I'll never forget that. The best win I've ever had. Alec Burks, my guy. Now he's starting for JTHayes the past, 2 games, I think it has been. Slid in the starting lineup and playing better ball. He's my favorite Piston for sure. Need the AP approval on that one, though. So Burks and then the Luka news.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough because this Pistons team, another team that's just struggling defensively. We talk about it anytime they're on the slate. Most recently, it was the Rockets, the situation where the Rockets were out, without both KPJ and Jalen Green. And then they had another injury or another guy that was out in that slate, and their guys just became the nuts. Like Tari Eason, he put up 35. Jabari Smith had a big game. Eric Gordon had a big game. So what I'm getting at is we want this news because we know multiple plays here could print. Like Josh Green, he would become a really good play if Luka's out. The coach had good comments about him. He got a ton of minutes. He would be firmly in play as a value right there with Aaron Wiggins or potentially like a pivot off of Wiggins. And then Dinwiddie, even at 8'5", you can play him at the shooting guard position, which is huge. We already talked about how point guard is stacked, and there are some value point guards that you can go to, and it would be easy to fit Dinwiddie into your lineups. And he's just like a security blanket. Like he's someone you'd absolutely want in cash. He put up 59 and 58 last two games, Suns and the Jazz. I would say that, those matchups are easier. Like the Suns aren't playing good defense right now at all, and the Jazz aren't a defensive juggernaut as well. But this Pistons, this is a better matchup, much better matchup at home. I think Dinwiddie, if Luka's out, is like what's his floor? Like 48, something like that. I mean, you just feel very, very secure with what he's going to bring. And the rotation's going to be a very elite one. We know it's going to be all Dorian Finney-Smith, Dinwiddie, THJ would get a lot of run, and then actually Reggie Bullock would be the guy who would get extended run off the bench. So, a really nice spot, but we don't have the news yet. And then the Pistons side, I'm with Hoop. Much easier fade here. I do think Burks is in play. He's one guy that's in play. Dwayne Casey just talks about the effort that he brings or whatever, but they still want to get Killian Hayes a lot of run. And the problem is you got all of those guys splitting minutes. Very, very similar to like the Wizards backcourt rotation. So that takes me off of most of those guys. And then Alec Burks too, just with all the other good plays we have at guard and point guard, it would probably take me off him as well.
What are your thoughts on your roster construction, just the Luka news? Let's say we don't get it when the 76ers game goes. What if we don't get it before the Lakers game? Any thoughts on that? Are you going to say anything happened? Go ahead.
I mean, it's obviously so for tonight, a lot of it comes down to like my what's my strategy as far as lineups go. It's a 4 lineup night for me, and so I'm gonna have a few lineups where I'm backloading. But my main lineup that's going into like all my main stuff, it's going to be really difficult because I like the 8 Eastern window. Love the Warriors game. Obviously, the pace projects really well. Like Edwards is so tough to ignore. And it just comes down to like, okay, I feel good about my lineup. I'm stacking, this window, and hopefully the news breaks in a favorable way for me. Or if it doesn't, hopefully let's just say I don't get to Dinwiddie for some reason. Hopefully he doesn't kill me. It's just going to be one of those type of slates. But it's definitely a man going slate if we want to call it that. I see K Falcon in chat. K Falcon slate 2, where you wait for the news for sure. And if you do that, you're always going to have a nice edge because not a lot of people like to wait for all the news to come out.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting spot. Have a plan as always with the big Luka news, and there's not just Luka news, Gobert news. There's multiple injury situations we're waiting on. Have a plan is all I got to say. And thank you, Steve. I didn't miss that. It was right before we came on. Hamidou Diallo was also ruled out with the illness like 15 minutes before we went live too. So even a little bigger bump to Alec Burks. What's going on, A-Pone? We got 2 games left on this slate. That's the Mavericks and Detroit.
That's actually pretty big news because he's been their best player. Like he only gets 19 minutes, but he's been super efficient.
Yeah, and he chucks when he comes off the so bump to Burks for sure. That's probably still the only Detroit guy. Someone was mentioning like Sadiq Bey in chat. I don't think it's the slate for that. But hey, if you have a strong lean on a 1% owned guy, you like Sadiq Bey today, can play chalk. You plug in Sadiq Bey and you get different that way. But it is a no for me. We got 2 games left on this slate. That game was at 8:30. We have 1 game at 9, 1 game at 10 p.m. Eastern. 9 o'clock game, Toronto Raptors, Phoenix Suns, 221 total. Phoenix is favored by 1.5. On the Phoenix side, they're still without Devin Booker, Landry Shamet out, Cameron Payne also out. Going over to the Raptors side, OG is out, Banton is questionable. Not a game I really love too much. Hoop, what are you seeing in this one?
Yeah, I mean, you got Precious, 5.1K. He's playing a lot of minutes with OG out, 37, 35, 28, 36, 33 minutes. He has big upside as well. You got a game that should remain pretty close and competitive, so I think he's a good play at 5-1. think Van Fleet's always a guy that you can play. You know what you're getting. He's going to play about 40 minutes, and he gets you about 40 fantasy points. Cash games, if you want to go there, sure. I don't think you have to. On the Suns side, Chris Paul coming off the big game. Don't think I'll be going back to him tonight. I'm really just not going to be on the Suns. So favorite play in this game by far is Precious. He will get some ownership, but at 5-1, I think it's tough to avoid.
Yeah, some people asking your people's favorite center and stuff for tonight. Precious is going to be a name that's definitely thrown out there.
Yeah.
Ownership will be up. But, man, price tag's good. He's playing a lot of minutes without OG, like you said. So, yeah, I said I didn't like this game much. Outside of Precious, I don't like it too much. AP, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so the Suns, I mean, they're back above 500. They get Devin Booker back. Obviously, really good sign for them. Mikal Bridges, CP, kind of carrying them right now. Cam Johnson's been good since he's returned, but defensively, they continue to struggle, and especially against like opposing shooting guards, wings, like Gary Trent's in a really good spot. I mean, if Keldon Johnson can put up like a 47 piece against you, you know it's a pretty good spot. Desmond Bane crushed, Dinwiddie crushed. I mean, a lot of these guys, Edwards crushed against them most recently. So Gary Trent, and with OG out, I mean, this guy's going to play a ton of minutes. You're talking 35 to 38 minutes. A guy who's going to take double-digit shots. You can play him at the shooting guard, small forward spot. I'd play him at small forward. And at 6.4K, not a lot of people are going to look at him. So I think he's an interesting play. Precious, again, man, this guy is all over, and he's playing big minutes. He's playing good. I think he's in play. He's someone you can build around. And then Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet's been playing, 41, 40 minutes, 37. I mean, the guy is going to give you a ton of minutes. So we love that in DFS. And if he gets going, he's just going to chuck. Like if he starts hitting shots, we saw it in the, I forget what game it was, where he just, maybe it was the Warriors where, at the end there, he was just absolutely chucking. So Fred VanVleet, another guard that's really interesting. And then Chris Paul on the other side, this guy, double-digit assists over his last 4 games, and I think he's averaging like 18 to 19 opportunities for assists, meaning he's putting his players in good positions to score. So absolutely what you want to see, starting to rack up the peripheral stats there. Tougher matchup here, but I do think he's in play because, with OG out, obviously that's a hit defensively to Toronto. So I think Chris Paul in play, Mikal Bridges. The price tag's a little high for my liking, so I'll be off of him. And then the Raptors have been really tough on opposing bigs, so I'm going to be off Ayton here. I think the production has to come from like CP, and then maybe like Cam Johnson has a big game. And then on the other side, it's Precious, Gary Trent, and Fred VanVleet.
So you like this game a little more than it sounds like.
Like bits and pieces from it. Like I would prioritize some of the other games that we talked about over this one. What I'm saying, though, is you got to love the rotations here, and you got to love where the predictability for the production is going to come from.
Yeah, it reminds me of the similar situation I was talking about in the Sacramento-Minnesota game where it is 2 relatively healthy teams, but the rotation, who's getting 30-plus minutes, and you're fine with those guys, and the ownership will be low. So, yeah, it makes sense that you don't mind these guys the last piece. I don't think – is Devin Booker back tonight? No, he is not,
no.
Steven. It's definitely going to be a lower own game. The total's pretty low. Teams are relatively healthy. The prices are right. But, yeah, if you like a piece here or there, like AP was mentioning, you get 30 minutes out of or 35 minutes of Mikal Bridges. CP3's been balling, a couple people saying, yeah, I don't mind playing any of those guys at 2% to 5% ownership. So that is Toronto and Phoenix. The next game is definitely the Atlanta-Portland game. We're about to get that. A lot of injury news in that. That's on an island. Maybe we get that news before the Suns game. But if we don't, we'll talk about that. There's a lot that goes on to these questionable tags. However, there is an Up to Lock show today as well. As always, you do need to be a member for it, though. Head to Run Pure Sports. I think we got K-Phallic, Mangone, JSU bringing you Up to Lock today. Golf is back in full force. I saw Hoop dropped a little first look golf show today. That's free on YouTube for the people, right? You don't need to be a premium member. Hoop dropped free. That first look. We got golf show usually tomorrow on Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That is also free. Then the premium show on Wednesdays, Big T, Hoop, and Tambo. So bunch of premium content. MMA's back this Saturday. Hoop, I don't know if you're playing, but starts at 10 p.m. Eastern, the early prelims.
10
It's
p.m.
in
Eastern. Where are they?
it's in the Apex, but it's the Asian card. They're doing it for the Asian back
Wow.
there. So I don't know
Damn.
exactly what time in Asia it
I
is,
might
but
be
yeah.
I might be sitting that one out, Title.
Yeah, fair enough. There's no late swap though, so you don't need to be
That is
messing
true,
with.
but I like watching it. That's like the best. What time's the main event then? Like 3 a.m?
Yeah, I mean it'll probably end. Yeah, probably it'll start at like main card at midnight or something like that. And that's Mountain Time. So my buddies, we all planned it. We're going out Saturday night. Excited to go around, watch some fights that night, and close it down that way. So not a good not good for you though. For
the East Coasters.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like 6 for our boy Tambo, who's like even he's on his own time zone out there.
I don't even know what time zone he's at, but yeah, a lot of MMA's back, golf's back, huge prize pools for the Super Bowl. FanDuel, DraftKings both got $1 million up top. Bunch of content as always. Like I said, up to lock show. You do need to be a member for all that. Talk about Tambo 15. I'll give you that code right now. Gets you for 15% off your first month. SaberSim is also included. Tambo had his birthday over the weekend, had a monster hit in golf too. So Tambo 15, if you do want to try it out, gets you 15% off for your first month. We'll keep it rolling though. We need 375 likes. You guys are at 320. I think you guys will get it done for us in the last game. 10 p.m. Eastern, Atlanta Hawks, Portland Trail Blazers. We got 237 total. Portland is favored by 2. I was talking about news. Trae Young is questionable in this one. Nurkic is questionable. Josh Hart is questionable. Justice Winslow is out. AP, this game's an hour after all the other games. If we don't have this news, it's probably a game that goes very, very low owned, and I don't know how you can wait for the news. What is your plan on that? Talk about guys like Damian Lillard at no ownership as a contrarian spend. Break down this game for us.
Yeah. I mean, how much did Tambo pay you to give the code out? That's what I was
feeling generous as a belated birthday present. I almost used Snyder, and then who brought up Tambo's name? Snyder's been grinded. But Snyder also was a little too high to try and swift change the standings in that. So
I forget what day we were trying to push JTHayes' code. So it was on the show on Sunday. So JTHayes is up there.
Tambo gets a shout out. Yeah, I was thinking Snyder, but Bobby's up. There's a couple. I don't want to change whoever wins because I gave a little shout out.
Bobby doesn't need any help. He's crushing it. He's absolutely crushing it. Man, so like this game is kind of tough. Like bigs have been destroying the Blazers in the paint. Especially if Nurkic is out, it becomes such a good spot. Like you could see Capella and Okongwu like at the end of the night. So like their ownership's going to be really, really low. I would not be surprised, like if Nurkic was out, both those guys end up with like flame emojis by their name, just because the spot has been so good for bigs. The problem is like to pay $6K for Capella when he's only playing like 28 minutes is really a tough pill to swallow there, because like you need him to be highly, highly efficient. It could happen. I just like other bigs in this spot. And then obviously, the Trae news, if he were to miss, DeJounte Murray, 7.9K. So again, another situation where it's kind of tough. Like I think he plays, but if he doesn't, DeJounte is going to get all the usage there, and then it would be an upgrade to Collins. I mean, it would be an upgrade also to Bogdanovich. So he'd most likely slide into the starting lineup, and then this game becomes really, really good in tournaments, like really good because it's going to be low owned since it's on the island. So it comes down to risk. What are you comfortable? Are you comfortable waiting for these spots? And if the news doesn't fall your way, you just got to play those guys anyway. So, and like DeJounte Murray, even if Trae plays, he's a guy I could play either way. So like at 7-9, yeah, you could definitely play him. And then if Trae's out, you just benefit even more. And his ownership is going to be capped to some extent. So kind of a tough spot. I do have interest in DeJounte. But again, it's like, would I play him over Dinwiddie if Luke is out? No, I definitely couldn't. And then Clint Capella, I would like to play him, but the price tag's tough. And then on the other side, I like Jeremy Grant here. I think he is in play at 6'3", even if Hart and Nurkic are in. He's going to play a ton of minutes, and he's played 40 and 42 over the last 2 games. Obviously, I think Hart was out in one of those games, and Nurkic was also out. So he benefits too if Nurkic and Hart are out. And he's a guy that you can play even if they're in too. So for me, it would be Grant and Murray would be the 2 guys I would be considering here.
Yeah, I like a lot what you said. Like DeJounte at 7.9K, even if Trae is in, he's playing upper 30s minutes. And if he's out, people aren't going to be able to play DeJounte if we get this news late like we expect. And man, he'd become, I mean, if we got that trade news right now, DeJounte would be like 50% owned in that $15, maybe even more. He could be 5%, 10%, just because the news doesn't hit at a certain time. So I like him. I like guys like Jeremy Grant because he could have a boost if Hart and Nurkic and stuff like that were out. Anthony Simon, 6'1", good price tag. Hoop, I think it's a little interesting game. What are your thoughts on it?
Absolutely love the spot, and it's for the reason that you guys both kind of touched on. Like, let's say the news doesn't break your way in this game or break our way. These guys are still playable. Like, all right, so if you have DeJounte Murray in there and Trae Young does play, I'm still fine playing DeJounte at 7.9K. He's going to play a ton of minutes. He's very productive when he's out there. And then you just have the baked-in upside that if he does sit, if he sits, DeJounte Murray is just a slam dunk play at 7.9K. And then you'd even have a guy like Bogdanovich who would come into the conversation a little bit. DeAndre Hunter. I'm all for just loading up on this game. And then on the Blazers side, Jeremy Grant's in play at 6'3", regardless of Hart and Nurkic's status. Now, if those guys both sit, he is an absolute, top value at 6.3K. We have Simons at 6'1", really good play already. And then, if those guys do sit, get Eubanks as a play. There's going to be a lot of plays in this game if the news breaks our way. If it doesn't, the guys are still playable. Love loading up on this game late here.
Absolutely. That is all 10 games on the slate. I see we're 20 away from the like, so I'm going to ask AP or Hoop a question or two. I'm going to look back. Hopefully we get 375. Chat's been too good. It's a Monday. Want to get you guys the plays today. We need to see 375 though. So I'll give you an extra minute. Going to ask AP a question right here. And this is an interesting question because I see it all the time lately because we talk about it a lot on these shows. Who should I play in the util? A center, a forward, a guard, all of that stuff. Obviously, every slate's like some nights there's just Naz Reid center, Precious is center. By far, those are two great plays. Everyone's going to go two center build. Today, I think if I had to guess, two center would probably be the most popular. But point guard's absolutely loaded, like you said, too, AP. So I'm not going into today and being like, I'm going to make sure I have two centers on my build. I'm going to make sure my util says point guard. Is there any slates you do that? Talk about that just overall. And then today, do you have a lean on who you're playing at util? And my guess is you're going to say guard because you love point guard today, but talk about that question. It's an interesting one. We get more than you think.
Yeah, my answer is going to be one that K Fallick will like. The guy you want in the util spot is whoever starts the latest. To allow you to adjust the most. So,
yeah.
I mean, all right, good question. You can kind of see it if you remember, you pull up the heat map and you look at the core plays, you'll see, okay, where the core plays, I'm trying to identify the best possible plays. If you see like four that are all in the center spot, could be a double center spot night. If you see four that are point guard and guards, it could be, where we load up on guards. So it's a slate by slate thing. I am leaning like going heavy guard tonight, but it really depends. Like Thomas Bryant, smash play. Precious, smash play. Like it could definitely be a double center night as well.
Yeah, I like it. So hopefully that answered a little bit. I think double center, I think guard. I probably wouldn't go a forward in that util spot today, but AP said it best. Pull up his heat map he's got. See who Glock does one for FanDuel. AP does one for DK. See where the core plays are. Then you can right there. It'll show you what position looks like the most loaded today. That'll help you out in the utility spot. And as AP said, K Fallick in chat, always have your last person, your latest start time in the util spot. And that means like at that position. Of course, if all your point guards start at 7 p.m. Eastern, yeah, if you're playing 4 point guards or whatever, and you need that util spot to start at 7, that's fine. I'm trying to explain this a certain way where people understand, but util spot doesn't mean it has to be the last person to lock in your roster because, yeah, of course, if you play more guards than you do a center and stuff, a center can lock at 9, your fourth point guard, they'll lock at 7 Eastern. Your util spot's already going to be gone when you have other spots available, but it's the last time that you know what I'm trying to say. It's the last starting time that your positions can fill out your roster. So hopefully that made sense. Very, very of the 731 people watching, 730 probably know what I'm saying, but a lot of people do mess it up though.
Yeah. The util, it's not necessary. I mean, it depends. If you're going to play, let's say you want to play 3 point guards that start at
Russell
7,
Westbrook, Dennis Schroeder, and just say Fred VanVleet played at 7:30 today.
Yeah. So your utility is going to be one of those guys that locks at 7. So it just all depends. You want to make it so you're Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to articulate it when you think about it. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to put in a sentence.
Yes.
But you guys get what I'm saying.
You did good enough.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, this is the most basic of basics DFS, but you see people mess it up all the time. So it is important to talk about it. All right, let's see the likes. 403 likes. We appreciate all of you out there. Awesome stuff. We are about to get you the plays of the day. I will start with myself first with the SO play of the day. We talked about it a lot in this last game. I'm going right back to that last game. DeJounte Murray, 7.9K. If Trae Young plays, DeJounte is a perfectly fine play. He's playing 38 minutes. He already grades out well. If he's out, people aren't going to have time to put DeJounte on their roster. Man, he would become a lock of all locks. You'd get him way lower owned than he should. You can play DeJounte if he's in. If he's out, you get that mega bump. People will not have the roster spots to mess with. So give me DeJounte Murray, 7.9K, the SO play of the day. Title made me dumber. I know, Anfer. I made a lot of people dumber. But I am glad Kenny does understand what I was saying. Let's go to AP, though. Let's go to the gentleman's call of the day. Who do you got?
Yeah, I think, if you're following along, you're going to know this, but it's SGA. I think he crushes tonight. I think that game, I like the over, and yeah, there you go. Mr. Patrick knows. SGA, that's my play.
Yeah, Mr. Patrick Rice got that one for sure. SGA, great play, is the gentleman's call of the day. Oop, take us home. Rich Parents play of the day. I want to know. I know who it is.
Well,
Klay Thompson.
No, I should make it. And this is the first time, honestly, in a long time that my play got stolen. You took my play it really has not happened in a very, very long time. And you stole my play because I was going to DeJounte Murray. I'm playing him either way.
Too sharp.
So I'm going to go to the other side and a guy that I'm going to play either way, regardless of news. And that is Jeremy Grant at 6.3K, Rich Parents play of the day.
Yeah, same exact thing. Draymond, coach said, I debated Draymond too, but same thing with Jeremy Grant and DeJounte. Man, all these questionable takes late. These guys already grade out fine. They could be absolute smash plays, and the ownership won't be there. So love it. Jeremy Grant, SGA are the two plays a day for them. Of course, mine, DeJounte Murray. It was a fun show. It's 4:04. I'm probably already getting yelled at. Up to Lock show is coming up right here. We'll see you in the live show chat. Tambo15 is the promo code. Gets you 15% off your first month. Saber Sim is also included. Congrats to you, AP. The Chiefs got it done. 2 more weeks, you're still live. It will be fun. We'll see you in the live show chat, though. For Hoop, AP, I'm Title. Good luck.
KC +2. Let's go.